edition of Supervisors Report with President David Haubert. I'm your host, Dr. Marshall Kamena. Joining me now is Supervisor Haubert. Welcome to you today. We've been looking very forward to this.
Thank you, Marshall, and thank you for having me, as always.
Well, it's our pleasure. What topics might you have to share with our viewers?
Supervisor's Choice, I'd like to start by going a little bit back in time. A couple weeks ago, we celebrated St. Patrick's Day weekend here in Dublin, California. I'd like to say thank you to our visitors from Bray, Ireland. They come every year. Our sister city from Dublin, California is Bray. They came over. We had a great time. The parade went well. Pancake breakfast by the firefighters went off without a hitch. The festival was great. And I just want to say thank you to the people of Dublin who helped put this on, the Dublin Rotary Foundation, and all the volunteers. And again, thanking our sister city from Bray, Ireland, for always visiting us on St. Patrick's Day weekend. It was a great time for everyone.
Well, aside from you as a past mayor of Dublin, were there any others who showed?
Well, almost all of the former mayors of Dublin were there. Tim Sabranti was the host of the MC of the parade. Guy Houston attended, former mayor of Dublin. Melissa Hernandez attended. The current mayor of Dublin attended, of course, Sherry Hu, and myself. I think just about as many as could attend were there.
I had spoken to Janet Lockhart a few days before, and unfortunately her health just wasn't going to permit it, and I really missed her.
We do wish her well, and she's always in our thoughts and prayers.
Yes. Great time, huh?
Great time. I also want to say that looking forward, though, we have the Alameda County Fair coming up. I noticed that tickets for the concerts went on sale, and so everyone that wants to go see concerts at the fair should be looking out for those tickets. Buy your tickets now so you get a good seat, and think about buying your pass for the fair. It's always a great time at Alameda County. I know, and people have called me, and I've had a lot of discussion. People are concerned and emotional and upset about horse racing not being able to be provided at the fair this year. It looks like that's the way things are going, even though we're trying to fight to maintain the agricultural heritage of the Alameda County Fair by finding ways to continue to have horses either stabled and trained at the facility there in the fairgrounds, and maybe a last-ditch effort to help try to see if we can revive the racing season. The jury's still out on that one, but I want everyone to know that we're watching it and trying very hard to make that happen.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It is.
Three Valleys. The amount of funding for community organizations that the Three Valley Community Foundation, that's a mouthful, manages grew really magnificently in the past year. It raised $4.5 million in grants. As a charitable organization, it supports community services throughout the Tri-Valley. Would you give us your observations of some of their events?
Yes, Marshall, just a week or so ago, we celebrated the grant giving season that Three Valleys Community Foundation put on. And I want to say the Three Valleys Community Foundation is a great organization that allows all of the cities in the Tri-Valley area, all 5 cities. Remember, it's Livermore, Pleasanton, Dublin, and also San Ramon and Danville. And anyone with a nonprofit organization can come under the umbrella of the Three Valleys Community Foundation. They accept and they will do all the paperwork, all the administrative things that go along with having a nonprofit organization. And they invest your money so that it's safe. Yep. They send out checks that you ask them to send out. So they receive money, they hold the money, they send out the money. They are a great organization that helps people create their own nonprofit organization. As an example, Marshall, I was a big supporter, the first person to fund the seeds of Three Valley Community Foundation. I gave $50,000 grant out of my own office-managed discretionary funds. Supervisor Nate Miley matched me with that. We were the first two.
That's spendthrift.
$100,000. Yeah. And others have jumped on and joined. In addition to that, Marshall, I put my own skin in the game. I don't know if you know this, my wife and I created our own donor advised fund, and it's housed underneath the Three Valleys Community Foundation. Project Hope, which is helping others with philanthropy and education. So we're putting our own money and raising money to put into the Three Valleys Community Foundation. In addition to that, Marshall, it gets even better. $2.8 million of the funding came from Alameda County. And one of the things that happened in the whole country in the last few years was this opioid litigation settlement. So everybody under the sun sued the drug companies who created fentanyl and other opioids. There was a huge settlement, and Alameda County received $2.8 million to give out in grants to help nonprofit organizations as a result of that settlement. We relied on the Three Valleys Community Foundation to help us manage those funds, and that was part of the $4.5 million. What the Three Valleys Community Foundation exists mostly for is to help raise the awareness of nonprofit needs and those that have the resources to help fund those needs. We know that as a community, we give away about 0.5% of our gross revenues, our income. 0.5% on average in our community is given away to charity. And that's good. But other communities that are considered healthy, vibrant communities, more affluent communities, they give about 1.5%.
Oh, I see.
So we're a little bit under where we should be. And some people give to national charities, and some people give to their own local charities. Three Valleys Community Foundation was founded to help increase the amount of local giving.
Maybe we can invite Alamo to join.
Well, we could. That'd be a good idea. That would raise the rates, wouldn't it? The whole idea is to help increase the awareness and help really to streamline the process of local giving. Mm-hmm. So they're a great organization. I've supported them not only from the beginning with seed funding, but with my own personal funding, and always recruiting for people to give more, that if they have the resources. We're not asking anybody to give if they don't have the resources, but we know we are an affluent community. We have the ability to give and to give a little bit more. It's directing it in the right ways, and the Three Valleys Community Foundation is helping to do that.
I take that to mean that not only are we in Alameda County very devoted, but we do it in a smart way so it's effective. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Effective and efficient way, yeah.
Yes. Congratulations.
Yep.
I'm going to bite you with the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the issues are close to being settled at the Coliseum? And as president, are there some left over that you feel as though need to be settled?
Yeah, I keep saying this, we're so close. Yeah. And we're getting closer, but the rate at which we get close, what we've done recently, Marshall, is we are now negotiating almost every other day to get this deal done. And in some ways, it's a very simple deal. We've already sold the county's 50% share to the Oakland A's, but it hasn't closed escrow yet. It's a 6-year escrow, and it won't close until next February of 2026, because that's when the bonds that were used to build the facility expire. All of the bonds will be paid off by February 26th. But another group wants to come in and step into the shoes of the A's, and the A's are perfectly willing. They're willing to allow this other organization to come in and complete the transaction. So it sounds really easy and simple, but it's complicated. We have to do our due diligence. We have to work out the terms and details. In addition to that, the A's were not only a purchaser of our 50% share of the Coliseum, they were also a tenant for 60 years. Yeah. And so we're working through the details of how they leave the facility, the status of the kitchens and the other facilities, and that they leave them in good repair. And so we're dealing with the complications of losing a tenant, and also the complications of that same tenant being the purchaser of our interest and wanting to transfer that to another entity. So it's complicated and it's easy at the same time, but we're working on it. The goodness of this is that the new entity that is going to step into the shoes of the A's and buy our 50% share is also the same entity that's going to buy the Oakland City share, so that the same people will own 100% of the land at the Coliseum.
This isn't the Levi's Corporation through San Francisco, is it?
It's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's this is the it's a large consortium of investors, and they want to purchase the entire facility so that they can own and control all of it, subject to the land use and zoning laws of the city of Oakland. But that's never happened before. So the goodness of all of this, when it's done, you'll have the ownership in one hand with a capable owner that will be able to redevelop the entire facility. It's going to be great, but we're working through the final details of transferring that purchase agreement to a new entity.
Well, I'm just wondering if the new potential owner is just as concerned about what the future land uses around it are going to be as they are what's going on in the Coliseum itself.
That's a great question, Marshall. I think that they are mostly concerned with what happens on the four corners of the property that they buy, and that's going to be a catalyst for what will change everything around it. And that's an even bigger benefit to the city of Oakland and to Alameda County. They are going to be a catalyst that will drive redevelopment, all the, what we call the halo effect, yes. Halo around. Right. So they're very focused on what they're going to do, not so much worried about others, what others do around them. That'll be an extra benefit for the city.
That's great.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back on this edition of Supervisors Report with President David Haubert in just a moment. Welcome back to this edition of Supervisors Report with the President and Chairman of the Board, David Haubert. Gave you an extra job.
Thanks, Marshall. I appreciate the promotion.
I'd like to talk for a moment and hope you'll respond to funding for immigration and legal aid.
Yes. Marshall, it's important that it's on everybody's mind now, changes that have happened. Well, let me just say, we've seen and known that there are a huge influx of people coming into our country across the border illegally, and it's happened to where we now have millions of people that are in our country illegally. And the current administration is trying to reverse that by controlling the border, but also deporting people who have come here illegally. However, that doesn't mean that people that are here don't have rights. Many of them, we know, work in our local economy. They pay taxes by virtue of anything they buy. They pay a sales tax. Many people, even if they're not having legal status to live in America, they maybe even own a home here in America. Foreign people are allowed to own property. And whether they've come here illegally or not, they also have rights under our U.S. Constitution. It's important that we, and so we know that, and there's a big debate in our country over those that have committed crimes that need to be deported and those that have come here illegally because we don't have a strong immigration policy that allows them to come here legally, but they've come here illegally, but they're doing work in our communities. Right. There has to be a balance here that they haven't been able to find. Mm-hmm. Right now, the administration, the president won. He's instituting policies that are his policies, and that's putting a lot of people on the spot to be deported. Well, we don't want those people, maybe they're a victim of crime and they're afraid to come forward and report it. Maybe they've witnessed a crime, but they're afraid to come forward and put themselves out as a witness. Maybe they're afraid to even seek medical attention and help that they might need for them and their families. Yeah. And so it's putting them in a very tough position, and the state of California is on the forefront. Alameda County is no exception to that. We're providing funding to not only share with people what their rights might be, but also to provide legal services. You may be here without documentation or illegally, but you may have the ability to seek asylum. You may have the ability to apply for citizenship, and you might not understand that. So we're just trying to provide, what we're not trying to do in any way, we're not trying to shirk or hide from the federal government and the things that they want to do to control immigration and to control illegal immigration. The federal government has a role in that, and we're not going to get in their way. We're not going to do anything that's preventing that from happening, but we are going to arm people that may be vulnerable with the information that they need about their rights and legal representation if needed. We've devoted $2.2 million to make that happen. The state of California has devoted millions of dollars as well. That may sound like a lot, Marshall, but really in the scheme of things, a $100 billion budget that the state of California has, it's not a lot, but it's for a good cause. And it's, not, again, not to harbor criminals. It's to provide good people with knowledge about their rights and legal representation where needed.
You think the birther issue is also part of it?
I do, Marshall. That one will probably go all the way to the Supreme Court, I guess. You know, there's a long-standing history of how that happened, and there's a big controversy over whether the current interpretation is consistent with what the Founding Fathers wanted it to be, what the Constitution wants it to be. So that'll probably go all the way to the Supreme Court. Yeah.
We'll see, huh?
Yeah.
You know, you can't do this job, I mean yours, without thinking about road and street maintenance. It always bites you.
Yeah.
Can you share what's going on there?
Yeah, I'd like to say that the Alameda County Public Works Department, two of their main functions is to maintain our roads, and by that I mean the roads that are not in an incorporated city but in unincorporated Alameda County. That includes Ashland and Cherryland and Castro Valley, but it also includes many of the rural roads in East County, most likely all the way to Del Val and beyond, Mines Road, yes, and Tesla Road, and all the roads in unincorporated Alameda County. We have 220 miles of roadways. Okay. And we're always coming across areas where maybe there was a landslide that covered some of the roads, or the land underneath the road eroded and the road is crumbling. So one example was Niles Canyon Road. Half the road fell into the creek. That's what happens when you have a road near a creek.
Mm-hmm. Give that part to Fremont.
That's right. That's part of, yeah, it's on the way to Fremont. So our Public Works Department are experts in understanding the geology of landslides and the geology of making roads engineered in a way that will last a long time. The other thing that they're in charge with, besides road maintenance, is the creeks and flood control. Okay. And rain, when it rains, we know, we talked about, the road can wash away.
Yeah, nice train problem.
The streams can, the Sunol School flooded. So the Public Works Department is also in charge of managing the streams and the flood channels that we have in our county. They come through our county from other parts of the state all the way through to the ocean. And we have to maintain strong creek beds and make sure that the water's flowing properly and doesn't get backed up with fallen trees that help flooding to occur. So our Public Works team is always out on the road, literally. You like that pun intended? They're out on the road. They're out on the road fixing the roads and fixing the creeks, and 220 miles of roadways, and I don't know how many miles, hundreds of miles of creeks and streams and channels to manage water. So they're always out and about, busy.
My experience over the last several years consistently has been that when folks talk about Public Works and Alameda County, that it's among the top in Northern California for sure.
Well, they do work hard, Marshall, and one thing I forgot that I want to actually add, Mobile Citizen app, and we'll put the how to sign up for that on the screen, people that see something, maybe they see cracks in the road that need repair, or they see a fallen tree in a creek bed, or they see, sometimes we find illegal dumping along the side of the roadway in a rural road. Public Works also goes and takes care of that. If it's on public property, they maintain public property. Mobile Citizen app is a great way for our community to let us know what they see. And so we'll put that on the screen. Anybody that's interested to learn more about or to sign up for Mobile Citizen should do so.
Is it catchy numbers so people remember?
Easy. It's an app, so I don't know if it's a phone number. There's probably a phone number and an actual app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been impressed, because of my Apple Watch, that when there are conditions, heat, cold, crime, having it sent right to my watch so that I know what to avoid, that's been something. Has your department, all your people been involved in doing this?
Yeah, well, that's the Office of Emergency Services that are probably doing that, Marshall. They work for the county, they work in the Sheriff's Department, and if there's an emergency of any kind, you'll be notified immediately.
Well, thank you very much. Do you have some upcoming events you'd like to mention?
I would like to say, Marshall, that on April 26th, Alameda County will feature the Women's Hall of Fame. We'll have a lunch at the Castlewood Country Club, and we do this every year. And if you look back at all the women that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, it's quite impressive. I'll also will maybe put up some photos. Marshall, one thing that I also could have mentioned earlier, my office and Supervisor Lena Tam's office are combining efforts. We're going to have our own, in the month of March, luncheon to celebrate women and to recognize women that are leaders in our community, and not so much a Hall of Fame, but rather a luncheon for all women that we're going to invite. It's going to be at McGrail Winery, and I'll show photos of that when we get them.
It's going to be the McGrail Winery?
Yes.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yep.
Well, she sure is getting active.
Yes.
In her new job, isn't she?
Yep. Very much so.
Anything else you'd like to mention?
I think that's it, Marshall. We had a great month, and look forward to the next episode as always.
Good. Thank you. I'm Dr. Marshall Kamena. Join us for the next episode of Supervisor Report with David Haubert right here on Tri-Valley TV. Thank you so much for watching.